In every modern military, there is a unit that lives in the shadows. The elite, the special forces. They are the force multipliers who decide the fate of nations before the world even knows a battle has begun. Whether it's the legendary resilience of the Russian Spetsnaz, the surgical precision of the American Delta Force, or the British SAS, the pioneers of modern covert warfare. These are the men who make the impossible look routine. But is this a modern invention, or is it merely an evolution of an ancient instinct? Today, we pull back the curtain on the uncharted context of history's original elite. Warriors who had no satellites, yet moved like ghosts. No drones, but possessed the power to topple empires with a single strike. From the immortals of Persia to the phantoms of Egypt. The Immortals Persian Empire. Who were they? In the heart of the Achaemenid Empire, there existed a force that defied the laws of nature, the Immortals. This was the elite heavy infantry, the spearhead of Persian might. They were called Immortals because their number never faltered. They were always exactly 10,000. If one fell to a blade or succumbed to illness, another stood in his shadow instantly. To their enemies, they were not just a private army, they were a ghost story that never ended. Selection began in childhood. These boys were forged in silence, trained to master the bow, the spear, and the short Persian sword. Their equipment was a masterpiece of deception. Light wicker shields that hid heavy scale armor beneath their vibrant robes. Their most terrifying feature was their silence, marching in perfect unison, their faces hidden behind linen masks, creating a psychological wall of mystery and dread on the battlefield. Their legend was cemented in 547 BC during the siege of Sardis. When the city's walls seemed impenetrable, the Immortals did the unthinkable. Under the cover of night, a small elite detachment exploited a context the enemy ignored, a precipitous, unguarded cliffside. They scaled the vertical rock face like shadows, infiltrated the citadel, and opened the gates from within. In one night, they turned an impossible siege into a total Persian victory, proving that no wall could keep out the uncharted context of their shadows. The Varangian Guard, Byzantine Empire, the Emperor's Iron Wall. They were the axe-bearing barbarians of the East. The Varangian Guard was an elite unit of Viking and Anglo-Saxon giants, serving as the personal bodyguards to the Byzantine emperors. In a court filled with betrayal and political schemes, the emperor trusted no one but these outsiders. They were more than guards. They were a living wall of Norse steel, feared for their immense size and their absolute, unbreakable oath to the throne. To join the Guard, one had to prove more than just strength. They had to survive the long road from the north. Their signature weapon was the terrifying Danish axe, a two-handed beast capable of cleaving a horse and its rider in a single swing. Trained in the shield wall tactics of the Vikings, but armored in the finest Byzantine plate, they were the ultimate hybrid of Northman ferocity and Eastern sophistication. They were known for two things: their legendary consumption of ale and their even more legendary fury in battle. Their defining moment came in 1091 AD at the Battle of Livonian. The empire was on the brink of collapse against the Pecheneg hordes. While the main army hesitated, the Varangians were unleashed. They didn't just fight, they hunted, using their axes to hack through the enemy's wagon fortress. They performed a devastating night assault that turned the tide of history. By dawn, the enemy army was erased, and the Varangian Guard stood alone amidst the ruins, their axes dripping red under the rising sun of a saved empire. The Jaguar Knights, Aztec Empire, the War Prophets. Deep within the sacred temples of Tenochtitlan, they were known as the Ocelotl. The Jaguar Knights were more than elite soldiers. They were war prophets and members of the Aztec nobility. Clad in the skins of the jungle's most lethal predator, they believed they channeled the spirit of the god Tezcatlipoca. To see a Jaguar Knight on the battlefield was to see a divine hunter who didn't seek to kill his prey, but to capture it for a far more terrifying fate, the sacrificial altar. Becoming a Jaguar was a journey of blood. A candidate had to capture at least 4 enemy warriors in live combat. Killing them was a failure. Their training focused on the art of the capture and mastery of the Makuitela wooden club, embedded with volcanic obsidian blades, sharper than surgical steel. This weapon was so powerful it could decapitate a horse in a single blow. Yet in the hands of a Jaguar Knight, it was a precise tool used to disable and drag enemies into the shadows. Their most desperate and lethal operation occurred during the Noche Triste, or the Night of Sorrows. As the Spanish conquistadors tried to escape the city of Tenochtitlan in total darkness, the Jaguar Knights turned the causeways into a slaughterhouse. Moving silently through the water in canoes and leaping from the shadows, they exploited the uncharted context of the night. They paralyzed the Spanish retreat, dragging armored soldiers into the depths of the lake. It was a night where European steel was no match for the primal fury of the Jaguar. The Medjay, ancient Egypt, the phantoms of the desert. Long before the world knew the term special forces, the pharaohs of the New Kingdom unleashed a shadow upon their enemies. The Medjay, originally elite scouts from the deserts of Nubia, they evolved into the empire's most feared paramilitary force. They were the eyes and ears of the pharaoh, serving as elite border guards, royal protectors, and high-stakes trackers. To the people of Egypt, they were heroes. To the lawless and the invader, they were the phantoms of the sand who saw everything. Selection was based on an almost supernatural ability to survive and navigate the harshest deserts on Earth. The Medjay were masters of long-range reconnaissance, capable of tracking a single target across hundreds of miles of shifting dunes. Their signature weapon was the Kapashe sickle sword, designed to hook an enemy's shield and deliver a lethal strike. They fought with a blend of Nubian archery and Egyptian tactical discipline, making them the ultimate multi-role operators of the ancient world. The legendary feat, the Shadow Purge of the Hyksos, c. 1550 BC. Their most critical operation took place during the War of Liberation against the Hyksos invaders. While the pharaoh's chariots engaged in open battle, the Medjay were sent deep behind enemy lines into the delta marshes. Their mission: surgical sabotage. They dismantled the Hyksos supply chains, assassinated key collaborators in the dead of night, and provided the uncharted context, the intelligence, that allowed Pharaoh Kamose to strike where the enemy was weakest. They didn't just fight for Egypt. They reclaimed its soul from the shadows. The Mongol arrow riders, the Mongol Empire, the wolves of the steppe. In the 13th century, the world faced a storm it couldn't outrun. Behind the massive Mongol hordes was a terrifying elite unit, the arrow riders, or Yam Scouts. They were the wolves of Genghis Khan. More than just messengers, they were a high-speed intelligence agency on horseback. Their task was to operate hundreds of miles ahead of the main army, acting as the eyes and ears of the Great Khan, ensuring that by the time the horde arrived, the enemy was already defeated in spirit. Selection was a test of impossible endurance. These riders could stay in the saddle for days, sleeping and eating while moving. They mastered the Mongol recurve bow, a masterpiece of ancient engineering that could outrange any infantry. Their true special ops tool, however, was the Pazah, a tablet of authority that allowed them to commandeer horses and supplies instantly. They moved at a contextual speed that paralyzed their enemies, delivering information faster than any empire in history could react. Their most brilliant operation occurred during the invasion of the Khwarezmian Empire. Long before the main Mongol force appeared, the arrow riders infiltrated the territory, cutting off all communication between cities. They captured royal messengers and replaced their letters with uncharted contexts, false orders, and terrifying rumors. By the time Genghis Khan arrived, the Sultan's generals were paralyzed by paranoia and misinformation. The empire didn't fall to a siege. It collapsed from an information blackout orchestrated by the shadows on horseback. The ninja or shinobi feudal Japan, the unseen shadows. In the blood-soaked era of feudal Japan, while the samurai fought for honor in the light, the shinobi or nin ruled the darkness. They were the ultimate specialists in unconventional warfare, espionage, sabotage, and assassination. To the world, they were myths who could walk on water or vanish in a puff of smoke. In reality, they were highly trained professionals who turned the uncharted context of their environment into a lethal weapon. Training began in secret villages hidden from the world. A ninja mastered shinobi-iri, the art of silent movement, and kujikiri, spiritual gestures to focus the mind under pressure. Their arsenal was a collection of nightmares, the kusarigama chain sickle for disarming samurai, and the shuriken for distraction. But their greatest tool was henso jutsu, the art of disguise, allowing them to walk among enemies as monks, merchants, or even enemy soldiers without ever being suspected. Their most famous operation occurred in 1558 at the siege of Kano Castle. The legendary Hattori Hanzo led a small team of ninjas to do what an entire army could not. Cloaked in the stolen uniforms of the castle guards, they infiltrated the inner sanctum in total silence. They didn't capture the castle with swords. They captured it with chaos, setting fire to the granaries and assassinating the command structure from within. By the time the sun rose, the impenetrable fortress had collapsed from the inside, proving that one shadow in the right place is worth 10,000 swords. In the end, weapons may change from the bow and spear to drones and lasers. Armor may evolve from jaguar skins and bronze scales to ballistic vests, but the doctrine of the elite remains the same. These warriors across every era have proven that battles are not always won by massive armies, but by the few who have the courage to operate in the shadows and the intelligence to exploit the uncharted context of their time. Now it's your turn. If you were a ruler in the ancient world, which of these elite forces would you choose as your personal guard? And do you think an ancient Medjay scout could stand a chance against the technology of a modern Delta operator today? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we continue to uncover the hidden depths of history. See you in the next discovery.